In this video, you will learn how to use the CALC option. Specifically, the fifth option in the Calculate menu is Intersect. Once you have inputted the functions into the calculator, the Intersect option allows you to find the intersection point for the two functions. The intersection point is the solution to the system of equations. In the first example, we would like to find the solution to the equation 3 raised to the x plus 2 power equals 15. So what we need to do is we need to go into the input function screen, which is right here. Now we have a left side of the equation which we'll enter as y1, so that's going to be 3 raised to, and then in parentheses, the x plus 2 power. Okay, and then the right side of the equation is 15. So we will let y2 equal 15. So we input 15. Now select Graph. Notice that we don't see the second function, y equals 15. It should be a horizontal line passing through the y-axis at 15. So we need to move the settings for the window up a little bit further. So let's set the y max to 20. And let's graph that. So now you can see the horizontal line. So here's the intersection point, which is the solution to this exponential equation. So let's go ahead and go to Zoom, and let's specifically zoom in on the intersection point. So we're going to use Zoom Box, and we'll select Enter. And there's the cursor flashing right there. You can barely see it. So let's move it to the left, and let's move it up. So we're going to bring it to the corner of the box, and that should be fine right there. Now select Enter, and we'll go up. Then we'll move to the right. Okay, so we're going to zoom in on this area right here. Select Enter. And there's the intersection point. So now we'll go to second function, CALC, and then option number 5 is Intersect. So we'll select 5, and then it says the first curve. Okay, now you can barely see the cursor flashing right here. So if we move a little bit to the right, it starts moving the cursor up. So here's the cursor flashing on the first curve, which is y1, 3 raised to the x plus 2 power, and then again here's the coordinates of that cursor. Okay, so we want to move close to the intersection point, so we can move a little bit closer, and that's fine. And we select Enter. Then you can see the cursor jumped to the second curve. And here it says second curve. So we select Enter. And then guess, we don't need to guess where the intersection point is. Let's just select Enter to get our result. So the solution to this particular equation is when x equals 0.465, y is equal to 15. So if you do substitute 0.465 back into the equation, you'll find out that 3 raised to the 2.465 will equal to 15. For example number 2, we would like to find the solution to the system of equations. Y equals to the absolute value of x plus 5, and y equals 7x minus 3. So let's go into the input function screen by selecting y equals, and we'll input the first function. So we want to go to Math, and then Num. So move the cursor over to Num. And then we want the absolute value, so select Enter. And that's of x plus 5, and then close the parenthesis, and then we will move down to y2, and y2 is the linear function 7x subtract 3. Okay, let's graph this. So here's our absolute value function, and here is the linear function. And then right here is the intersection point, which is the solution to this system of equations. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the intersection point. So let's go to Zoom, and then Zoom Box, option number 1. And there's the cursor. You can see it flashing right there at the origin. So let's move up and move a little to the right. So now you can see it there. There's the cursor flashing there. And we'll move it up a little bit. So now let's select Enter. And then we will move the cursor up to start forming the box, one side of it. And then move the cursor to the right. And there's the box. So it's going to zoom in on this area, select Enter. Okay, now we're ready to find the intersection point. So we go to second function, CALC. Number 5 is intersect. It says first curve, so the cursor is on the first curve that we have inputted in the y equals screen. And here is the function y1. So let's go ahead and select Enter. And now the cursor jumped to y2. Now we can't see it, so let's move the cursor a little to the left and see where it's at. And there it is. Okay. Sometimes you will need to use the other arrow key to bring the cursor up. Okay, so here's the second curve showing right here. So let's select Enter, and we don't need to guess. Let's select Enter. The intersection point occurs when x equals 1.333 and when y equals 6.333. Now the solution to this system of equations is of course the value of x, which is 1.333. So when you substitute x equals 1.333, which is 1 1/3, into the value of x for both of these equations, they will both be equal to 6.333. And remember to take into consideration the rounding error. This concludes the video using the CALC Intersect option of the calculator.